73 years ago, London stopped breathing. On December 5th, 1952, a thick, yellow fog descended on the city. It wasn't just weather, it was death. Coal smoke, trapped by an anticyclone, turned the air into sulfuric acid. By the time the fog lifted on December 9th, today, over 4,000 people were dead. Some say the real number was 12,000. People dropped dead in the streets, suffocated by the very energy that kept their lights on. The Great Smog was a tragedy. Politicians saw a public health disaster. But for the financial architects of the future, it was an inspiration. It was the moment they realized a powerful economic truth. If you can scare people about the air they breathe, you can tax them for the privilege of breathing it. We need to talk about the climate economy, not the science. The science is a debate for scientists. I am talking about the money. Because in 2025, climate change is the single largest financial asset class in the world. It is a multi-trillion-dollar industry built on a very simple premise: financializing nature. What does that mean? It means things that used to just exist, air, water, soil, are now lines on a Wall Street trading screen. They have turned carbon dioxide, nitrogen, even biodiversity into tradable points. They have turned the air into a derivative. And derivatives need a market. So they built one. To understand how this machine was built, you have to rewind to the 1990s. Politicians signed climate treaties. Bureaucrats designed targets. And the banks designed the plumbing. They didn't just say, emit less. They said, let's create a market for emissions. First came cap and trade schemes. Governments set a cap, handed out permits, and let companies trade them. On paper, it sounded efficient. In reality, it created a brand new casino. Then came offsets. If you couldn't cut your emissions, you could offset them by paying someone, somewhere, to promise to reduce theirs. Protect a forest, build a wind farm, capture some methane. Each promise became a tradable credit. Suddenly, an entire ecosystem appeared. Consultants to design the projects, auditors to verify them, brokers to trade them, lawyers to structure them, rating agencies to bless them, and asset managers to bundle it all into funds. The more complex the system became, the more money there was to be made. And the one thing they all had in common was that they didn't have to breathe the air they were monetizing. And who pays for this casino? You do. The green premium is baked into everything you buy in 2025. Your energy bill is higher because of green taxes. Your car is more expensive because of emissions mandates. Your food is shrinking because of nitrogen restrictions on farmers. Companies don't pay these costs out of their own pockets. They add it to the price tag. The ESG score is an invisible tax hidden in your grocery receipt. They are deliberately making the cost of living higher to force a transition to technologies that aren't ready yet. Look closer at who really pays the price. Look at energy. A family in a small apartment doesn't own a coal plant or a wind farm. They just get a bill at the end of the month. When regulators force utilities to shut down cheap power before alternatives are ready, that family doesn't get a thank you note from the planet. They get a past due notice. Look at farmers. On paper, nitrogen limits are about saving the climate. On the ground, it means smaller harvests, higher fertilizer costs, and entire family farms pushed to the edge. When yields fall, food doesn't become more sustainable, it just becomes more expensive. The asset managers in glass towers don't feel that. They pass through the higher costs through the supply chain, then applaud themselves in glossy ESG reports. You are not just paying for energy and food anymore. You are paying for their scoring system, their metrics, their ideology. And if you can't pay, they don't lower the standards, they lower you. Look at the ESG scam. Investment firms like Vanguard and BlackRock force companies to adopt these policies. If a CEO refuses, they cut off his capital and tank his stock price. It is a protection racket. Nice company you have there. Shame if it had a low ESG score. The Great Smog of 1952 was real pollution. You could taste it, you could see it. The smog of 2025 is financial. It is a cloud of regulations, taxes, and lies designed to transfer wealth from the working class to the green elite. In 1952, people knew they were choking. Today, you don't feel it in your lungs. You feel it when your credit card balance goes up every month, even though you bought less. They fly to Davos in private jets to lecture you about carbon, then eat Wagyu beef while telling you to eat bugs. The ultimate goal is the Personal Carbon Allowance. It's coming. A digital wallet that tracks your carbon footprint. Once they start measuring you by your carbon score, you are no longer a citizen. You are a portfolio of emission rights to be managed. Picture the year 2035. You wake up and open your banking app. Your balance looks fine, but there's a new bar at the top of the screen. Your monthly carbon score. You try to book a last-minute flight to visit a sick relative. The app flashes a warning. This trip will exceed your personal carbon allowance. You click Proceed. The payment fails. Your money is still there. You just aren't allowed to spend it that way. At the supermarket, you swipe your card, and a soft chime tells you that you've reached your limit on red meat for the month. The system gently suggests plant-based alternatives. Not a law, not a policeman, just a coded nudge that feels suspiciously like a veto. Your employer gets a dashboard that shows not just your performance at work, but your environmental impact score. Promotions don't just depend on results anymore. They depend on how obediently you color inside the climate lines. No one has to arrest you. No one has to ban you. They just have to structure the system so that disobedience becomes impossible. The lesson of December 9th is that crises are always monetized. The smog killed thousands, but the cure is enslaving billions. Real environmentalism is about clean water, clean soil, and stopping toxic waste from dumping into your local river. Corporate environmentalism is about taxes, control, and commoditizing the very air in your lungs. Here is the architect's protocol for surviving the climate economy. 1. Reject the guilt. Do not buy the climate shame they are selling. Your plastic straw is not the problem, while they fly private. 2. Identify the tax. Look at your bills. See the green line items. Understand that inflation is often just regulation in disguise. 3. Follow the money. Ask yourself, does this money clean the air, or does it just buy a paper credit on a trading floor? 4. Build local resilience. Wherever you live, reduce your dependence on systems you don't control. Learn basic skills. Grow something edible, even if it's small. Know your local producers. The more of your life is local and direct, the less of it can be switched off by a distant dashboard. 5. Accumulate reality, not narratives. When in doubt, choose assets that exist in the physical world over assets that only exist as promises. Tools, land, knowledge, robust networks of people you trust. Those do not vanish when a scoring system is changed or a policy is updated. Don't buy the guilt. Follow the money. I am the architect, and I will see you tomorrow.